Those old things, shall I help you dispose of them? Jason Reed's voice came over the phone, with a hypocritical kindness. I interrupted coldly, no need, I've already had someone throw them away. Using the money he gave me to completely sever ties was my last shred of dignity. The solid ice in my heart ached with cold. Forgive him? Maybe in the next life. I'll settle this score with him slowly. I chose the third option, looking at that string of numbers, my heart empty. The wind was a bit cold in front of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Jason Reed stood not far away, in a well-tailored custom suit, his hair meticulously combed. Olivia Vance, beside him, wore a well-fitting champagne-colored dress, smiling slightly, like a victor. He walked towards me, as if wanting to say something. Jason, I interrupted him, my voice as calm as if talking about the weather. The formalities are complete, money and goods are exchanged. He stopped in his tracks, a complex look flashing across his handsome face, perhaps shock, perhaps something else. I couldn't be bothered to distinguish. Sarah, don't call my name. I took a step back, widening the distance. We are now just strangers. He looked at me with deep eyes, as if trying to see through me. I tugged at the corner of my lips, revealing a smile devoid of warmth. Wish you happiness. After speaking, I turned and left, the heels of my shoes striking the ground, making a crisp sound, each step like stepping on my shattered heart. I know he's watching my back. I know Olivia is holding his arm. So what? This marriage has been dead since the moment he chose to betray it. My name is Sarah Miller. Once, I was Jason Reed's whole world. I got into a taxi and gave the hotel address. Outside the car window, the city was bizarre and dazzling. I closed my eyes, but images of the past rushed uncontrollably into my mind. The first time I met Jason was at a charity gala. He was like a ray of light, easily attracting everyone's attention. Handsome, rich, and with remarkable conversation. And I was just an inconspicuous presence in the corner, trying to play the role of the obedient daughter of my father, George Miller. He took the initiative to come over, holding champagne, with a gentle smile. Alone? Later, he helped me escape that suffocating family of origin. My father, George Miller, was a complete bastard. He was a male chauvinist and obsessed with money. Back then, he demanded an exorbitant bride price from Jason, calling it a test. I remember Jason's anger at the time. He almost got into a physical fight with George. Sarah is not a commodity, he said, protecting me behind him with a firm look in his eyes. Wherever she wants to go, she can go. No one can use money to tie her down. He paid the money and then took me away from that so-called home. I didn't look back. We traveled to many places and had a wedding with just the two of us in a small town in Italy. In the sunlight, he put a ring on my finger and solemnly promised, Sarah, from now on, I am your harbor, your reliance. I will give you all my love and freedom. I believed it. I indulged in the web of love he wove, thinking I was the happiest woman in the world. When did happiness start to deteriorate? Probably about half a year ago. After he answered a phone call, his face became unusually serious. I asked him, but he only said it was a company matter. The original Seattle travel plan was cancelled by him on the grounds of an urgent meeting came up. At that time, Olivia's name began to appear occasionally in his conversations, always accompanied by excuses like work partner and project needs. I didn't think much of it, until he started staying out all night. The first time, he didn't come home all night. When he came back the next day, he was exhausted, with stubble on his face and bloodshot eyes. He hugged me and apologized repeatedly. I'm sorry, Sarah, I've been too busy lately. The company has been having some problems. I believed him. I even felt sorry for him, made him hangover soup, and told him to take care of himself. Work pressure? More like pressure from a gentle and romantic place. My phone vibrated, interrupting my memories. It was a text message from the bank, confirming that the huge sum of money had arrived. I looked at the string of numbers, feeling no joy, only numbness. This money is what I deserve. It's the price of his betrayal. I used the money to buy a small apartment in Portland and get away from everything in the past. I need to start over. While sorting through old things, Jason called and offered to help me. No, thank you, I said distantly. I've already had a moving company take care of everything. I didn't keep any of the photo albums, gifts, or souvenirs that held sweet memories. He wouldn't give up. Sarah, I know you hate me, but those things. Jason, I interrupted him, we're divorced. Everything in the past is meaningless to me. We've settled our accounts and owe each other nothing. After hanging up the phone, I leaned against the wall and slowly slid to the ground. Tears finally fell uncontrollably, not for him, but for myself, for my dead love, for the 7 years of youth I misplaced. I decided to go back to my hometown of Oakville. It's not to see anyone, just to visit my mother. I placed a bouquet of white chrysanthemums in front of my mother's tombstone. The mother in the photo has a gentle smile. Before she passed away, she held my hand and told me, "Sarah, find someone who is truly good to you. Don't be like your mother." She lived her whole life in the shadow of my father, enduring, yielding, and ultimately dying of depression. "Mom, I'm divorced," I said softly. "He was very good to me, very, very good, but I still lost him, or rather, he abandoned me first." A familiar yet disgusting voice came from behind me. "Oh, isn't this my successful daughter?" I froze and slowly turned around. George Miller, my father, with a beer belly and a fake smile, was looking at me. "I heard you divorced Jason? Oh, what a pity, such a good catch." He clicked his tongue in admiration, but a shrewd glint flashed in his eyes. "But it's also good. Wasn't I prescient to ask for that bride price back then? Otherwise, wouldn't you be left with nothing now?" I looked at his face, and my stomach churned. This is my father. Always put money and interests first. Back then, he took the betrothal gifts Jason gave and immediately bought a house and a car for the son brought by his stepmother. But to me, his own daughter, he was so stingy that he even haggled over tuition fees. If it weren't for Jason, I might have dropped out of school long ago and been married off to someone he found just to exchange for benefits. "What are you doing here?" I asked coldly. "Come see your mother, and by the way, check on you." He took out a bank card from his pocket and stuffed it into my hand. "There are $300,000 in here, and the password is your birthday. Dad knows it's not easy for you now. Take this money as a way out that Dad is leaving for you." 300,000? Compared to what Jason gave me, it's just a drop in the bucket. His hypocritical compensation is more like a show-off and a handout. He flaunts his shrewdness in selling his daughter back then and bestows upon her cheap paternal love. I looked at the card as if I were looking at something dirty. Years of repressed anger and grievance erupted instantly. I pushed his hand away suddenly, and the bank card fell to the ground. "George Miller, put away your act," I almost roared. "You've never treated me like your daughter. Now you're trying to act like a loving father? I don't need your dirty money. Take it and get out." He was taken aback by my reaction, and then became angry and embarrassed. "Hey, you little brat. I'm offering you a good deal and you're refusing? You think you're all grown up now? Have you forgotten who raised you?" "Raised me?" I sneered. "Do you mean raising me as a cash cow, or as a tool for your son to get resources? You." He was so angry that his face turned red. I didn't want to say another word to him. I turned around and ran, escaping this suffocating place, escaping this so-called father. Looking back now, it's truly ridiculous. I ran for a long time until I was exhausted before I stopped. The feeling of oppression in my chest almost made me unable to breathe. The pain of my original family and the failure of my marriage are like two mountains, crushing me and making me unable to breathe. Paid content warning: the real trigger for the divorce will be revealed next, as well as the moment Sarah discovers the truth. The plot is about to usher in its first major turning point. ****. What finally made me determined to get a divorce and demand high compensation was not my father's shamelessness, nor the accumulation of hatred for Jason. It was a photograph. During that time, Jason moved to an apartment near the company under the pretext of company crisis, needing to be dealt with centrally, and rarely came home. He said he needed to calm down and needed space. I was still foolishly worried about his health and his company. That night, I was compelled to go see him. Perhaps it was a woman's intuition, or perhaps my subconscious had already sensed an uneasy atmosphere. I didn't notify him in advance and drove to the building where his company was located. His office light was still on. I didn't go up, just waited quietly in the car. Feeling bored, I started browsing his social media updates. He rarely posts anything, but he updated one that day. It was a photo of a city night scene, with the caption, "Long night ahead." A very ordinary photo, but I zoomed in on the picture. On that huge floor-to-ceiling window glass, I saw a blurry reflection, the profile of a woman's face, and a white electric car. I remember the license plate number. It's Olivia Vance's car. The location is Seattle, the city we originally planned to travel to, but he canceled it under the pretext of work. In that moment, it felt like a thunderclap exploded in my brain. All the doubts, all the anomalies, Connected in an instant. His so-called company crisis, his so-called need for space, his so-called staying out all night. All lies. He wasn't dealing with work at all. He was dating another woman, while I was worried about him and making excuses for him. He was enjoying a romantic getaway with Olivia in Seattle. I felt all the blood in my body rush to the top of my head, then freeze instantly. My hands and feet were cold, and my heart felt like it was being tightly gripped by an invisible hand, making it painful to breathe. My hands trembling, I dialed his number. It rang for a long time before he answered. The background noise is a bit noisy, and there seems to be a woman's laughter. Hello? He sounded a little tired, even with a hint of impatience. Jason. My voice was terribly dry. Where are you? He paused for a moment, as if organizing his words. At the company. In a meeting. After crying, I felt much calmer. Lies. Still lying. Really? I sneered. With Olivia Vance. At a meeting in Seattle? The other end of the phone went dead silent. I can imagine his panic and astonishment at this moment. After a few seconds, he finally spoke, his voice terrifyingly calm, without a trace of guilt or regret. Sarah, we're both tired of this. Let's just forget it. Forget it? Those 3 light words were like a poison dagger, stabbing fiercely into my heart. 7 years of feelings. He used the 3 words, let's forget it, to draw a period. Tears instantly burst their banks. I hysterically screamed into the phone. Jason Reed, you bastard. Why are you doing this to me? I won't get a divorce. I absolutely will not get a divorce. I'm going to make you and that bitch infamous. I won't let you go. I was like a madman, incoherently threatening and crying. There was only silence on the other end of the phone. Then, he hung up. When I called back, I couldn't get through. He blocked me. All means of contact have been cut off by him. He disappeared. He completely disappeared from my world. In that moment, I felt a despair I had never felt before. I collapsed into the driver's seat, letting the tears pour out as if to drain all the moisture from my body. I realized that I really seemed to have nothing. Except him. My family is unreliable, my friends have become distant because of him, and my life revolves entirely around him. Once I left him, I was like a planet detached from its orbit, instantly losing direction and support. The following days were hell. I locked myself in my house, not seeing anyone, not answering any calls. I reversed day and night, numbing myself with alcohol. My heart aches as if it's about to break. I hate him. I hate his ruthlessness. I hate his betrayal. I hate myself even more. Hate my stupidity. Hate my dependence. Just when I was about to be swallowed by pain, Olivia Vance, like a ghost, reappeared on my social media timeline. She posted a photo. In the photo, she and Jason were snuggling together, smiling brightly. The background is that famous temple in Seattle. The sunlight shone on them, appearing so dazzling. The caption reads, "May the years be peaceful and good. Grateful for the encounter." This photo became the last straw that broke me. All the pain, anger, and unwillingness instantly turned into a chilling hatred. I looked at Olivia in the photo, smiling like a flower, and at the man I once loved so deeply beside her. I wiped away my tears and got up from the ground. I walked to the mirror and looked at the haggard, disheveled woman inside. No, I can't go on like this. He ruined my love. I can't let him ruin my life. I picked up my phone and dialed my lawyer. I want a divorce. My voice was calm, but with an unquestionable determination. Property division. I want to get the most. It would be best if he left with nothing. The lawyer was probably surprised by my change, but quickly returned to being professional. Ms. Miller, I will do my best to fight for your best interests. The subsequent divorce process went surprisingly smoothly. Jason raised no objections and almost let me take whatever I wanted. He only asked for the house we had shared for many years. The rest, including company shares, savings, and investments, were mostly transferred to my name. I know he wanted to settle everything with money and ease his guilt. I accept everything on the list. He owes me this. After getting the money, I left that sad place and came to Portland. I need a completely new environment to start life anew. I wasn't in a hurry to find a job, so I chose to volunteer at a hospice care facility. I wanted to find some meaning in life in those who were about to reach the end of their lives. There, I met Chloe, a girl in her early 20s who had terminal bone cancer. She was thin and pale, but her eyes were bright and she always had a smile on her face. We got along very well. She would tell me about her favorite bands, and her dream was to go to a concert of her idol. I would read poetry to her, chat with her, and listened to her pour out the torment of her illness and her fear of death. The days I spent with Chloe gradually calmed my heart. Watching her try so hard to live, I felt that the emotional wounds I had experienced didn't seem so important anymore. However, the peaceful life didn't last long. Olivia Vance, like a persistent fly, started sending me messages again. She kept changing numbers and harassing me tirelessly. The content of the messages was nothing more than flaunting how happy she and Jason are now. Jason bought me a new diamond ring. Do you think it's pretty? Image, we are going on vacation to Europe next month. Didn't you always want to go to Switzerland? Sarah, seriously, do you regret getting divorced so impulsively? Actually, Jason still has you in his heart. I didn't reply to a single one. Directly blocked and deleted. But I admit, every time I receive a message from her, my heart still aches as if it's being stabbed with a needle. Her words lingered in my mind like a curse. I believed it. Regret? I don't know. I only know that whenever the night is quiet, the pain in my heart will remind me that the scar has never really healed. I forced myself not to think and put all my energy into volunteer work. That day, I went to the nursing home and found Chloe's bed empty. The bedding had been taken away, and the sheets had been changed. A strange middle-aged woman was lying there, staring blankly at the ceiling. My heart skipped a beat, and I grabbed a passing nurse. Where's Chloe? Where did she go? The nurse looked at me, her eyes a little shifty. Oh, she's gone. Gone? Is she discharged? Or, I don't dare to think about it anymore. The new patient in the next bed suddenly interjected. Once they're gone, they're gone. Where else can they go? People, sooner or later, will have this day. Her tone was so calm, even with a hint of numbness and indifference. I can't describe what I'm feeling. Was I sad for Chloe? Or uncomfortable with the indifference of this strange patient? Later, I learned the truth from a nurse I knew well. Chloe didn't just leave the hospital, she really passed away. Her condition suddenly deteriorated, and she didn't get to see the concert she had been looking forward to. The new patient, it is said, suffered a mental breakdown due to the recent death of her husband, and is somewhat indifferent to life and death. In a sanatorium, life and death are the norm, but I still felt an unspeakable sense of oppression. Life is so fragile, so short. During that time, it always rained in Portland. The continuous rain mirrored my mood. One rainy night, I curled up on the sofa, watching the blurred neon lights outside the window. Suddenly, my phone started vibrating like crazy. It was a message from an unknown number, but I recognized the tone. It's Olivia. The message was short, but it conveyed an unusual sense of urgency and panic. One last time. Sarah, please, come quickly. Address. The address is a hotel in the city center. I frowned, a sense of foreboding rising in my heart. Last time? What do you mean? What trick is she trying to play now? Almost simultaneously, there was a burst of hurried knocking outside the window. I was startled, walked to the window, and lifted a corner of the curtain. In the rain, a familiar figure was standing downstairs, soaked to the bone, with hair plastered messily on his forehead. He was looking up at my window. It's Jason. He looks wrong. His eyes are lost, his expression anxious, like a lost child. Then, he opened his mouth and shouted in a voice that was both familiar and unfamiliar, with a sob, Sarah Miller, Happy New Year. New Year? But it's clearly summer now. A terrifying guess, like a cold tide, instantly overwhelmed me. I rushed downstairs and opened the door. He saw me, his eyes lit up, and he stumbled towards me, hugging me tightly. Sarah, I couldn't find you. I was so scared. He sobbed in my arms like a child. He was very cold, mixed with rain and a strange medicinal smell. I froze in place, my mind blank. Just then, a taxi stopped at the side of the road, and Olivia Vance stumbled over. She saw us hugging, stunned at first, then her eyes turned red, and she completely broke down. Jason, where did you run off to? You scared me to death. She rushed over, trying to pull Jason away. Jason, however, was like a frightened rabbit, clutching me tightly and refusing to let go, muttering incoherently, bad guy, don't touch me. Sarah, save me. Olivia looked at Jason, then at me, tears falling like beads from a broken string. She choked back sobs, and haltingly spoke the truth that I had already guessed, but didn't dare believe. Sarah, I'm sorry. Jason, he's sick. It's Alzheimer's. Early onset and progressing rapidly. 6 months ago, when he was first diagnosed, he decided to push you away. He didn't want you to see him become like that in the future, didn't want to burden you. Seattle. That trip was cancelled. Not because of me. He went for further checkups. Those photos, that information, he forced me to send them. He said that only by making you hate him completely could you leave him and start a new life. I'm not a homewrecker. I just promised to help him complete this plan. Olivia sobbed uncontrollably. I looked at Jason in my arms, who was frightened like a child, and then at the tearful woman in front of me. In my heart, a desolate wasteland. So, this is the truth. No betrayal, no new love, only a carefully planned, cruel farewell. Olivia was still sobbing and explaining. I gently patted Jason on the back, comforting him. Then, I raised my head, looked at Olivia, and said calmly, I know. Olivia stopped crying abruptly, looking at me in disbelief. You know? Yes. I nodded, my voice a little hoarse. I knew before he filed for divorce. I accidentally saw his medical record. That diagnosis report was like a sharp knife, piercing all my fantasies. Alzheimer's disease. In that moment, I finally understood all his abnormalities, all his alienation, all his betrayal. My heart ached beyond description, but I didn't expose him. I chose to cooperate with him in this play. He wanted me to hate him, to leave him, and to live a better life. Then I will grant his wish. I pretended to be betrayed, pretended to be angry, pretended to be hysterical. I filed for divorce, demanded a huge amount of property, and played the role of a resentful woman seeking revenge after being abandoned. Every step felt like a slow, agonizing torture of my own heart, but I knew it was what he wanted. It was the only way he could think of to protect me. Even though this method was foolish and cruel, Olivia stared at me blankly, seemingly unable to process the fact. Because I love him, I interrupted her, looking at Jason in my arms who had quieted down but was still clutching my clothes tightly. I love him, so I am willing to fulfill his good intentions. Even if the price of this fulfillment is a heart-wrenching pain. The rain is still falling. I brought Jason home. Olivia followed, standing awkwardly in the doorway. So, what are you going to do? She asked cautiously. I looked at Jason, who was already curled up asleep on the sofa, like an insecure child. He stays, I said. You stay too. I might not be able to take care of him alone. Olivia was stunned for a moment, then nodded, a complex emotion flashing in her eyes. Perhaps gratitude, perhaps guilt. Just like that, Olivia and I, two women who were once destined to be love rivals, began to take care of a man who was gradually losing his memory. The days became long and difficult. Jason's condition was like being on an accelerator, getting worse day by day. He quickly and completely regressed to the mind of a child, sometimes quiet, sometimes violent. He would cry and make a scene because he couldn't find his favorite teddy bear. He would point to the financial news on TV, vaguely muttering company and reports. He would mistake me for his mother, sister, or some long-forgotten name. More often than not, he would just sit quietly, staring blankly out the window, like a sculpture forgotten by the world. I quit my volunteer work to take care of him full-time, feed him, bathe him, coax him to sleep, and clean up the mess after his incontinence. Patience is honed to perfection through the daily grind of trivialities and chaos. Olivia was a little awkward at first, but gradually integrated into this life. She is responsible for purchasing, handling some external affairs, and occasionally helping me out. She's still the same, tough-talking but soft-hearted. Sarah, why bother? He doesn't even recognize you anymore. You could take that money and start a new life. Find a normal person. You're just wallowing in self-pity and wasting your life. I usually just smile and don't argue. A waste of life? Maybe. But seeing Jason's occasional, childlike pure smile, I think it might all be worth it. At least, I was by his side in the final stage of his life, in a way he never expected. This peaceful, or rather, numb, period lasted for nearly a year. Jason lay in bed, his breathing very weak. I held his withered hand and gently hummed the song he used to love to listen to. He suddenly opened his eyes. Those once deep and bright eyes were now cloudy, yet strangely clear. He looked at me, for a long time. Then, with all his strength, he spat out a few words. Sarah, do you hate me? My heart suddenly clenched. He remembers? My heart was completely dead. Or is this just a final burst of light before death? I looked at the last trace of clarity and expectation remaining in his eyes. I know he's waiting for my answer. This answer is very important to him. Tears welled up in my eyes, but I held them back, forcing the tears away. I leaned down, close to his ear, and said, in a cold, clear voice, one that even I found unfamiliar, word by word, yes, Jason, I hate you. I hate you for ruining my life. I will never, ever forgive you. His pupils seemed to tremble slightly. The corner of his mouth, however, seemed to curve upward in an almost imperceptible arc. It's like a relief. It's like satisfaction. Then, he slowly closed his eyes, never to open them again. I sat by the bed, holding his gradually freezing hand. For a long, long time, Olivia came in, saw this scene, and quietly retreated, leaving me with the final space. Tears finally slid down silently. I transferred most of the property Jason left behind to Olivia. His funeral arrangements are in your hands, I said, according to his wishes. Bury him in the cemetery in the suburbs where you can see the sea. Olivia looked at me, hesitant to speak. Finally, she just nodded. I understand. What about you? Me? I smiled. I have some personal matters to attend to. Olivia didn't press further and left with the money. I know she will handle everything well, including burying me next to Jason. This is something I had asked her to do a long time ago. I got rid of the apartment in Portland. I completely blocked all contact information for George Miller. In this life, I will have nothing to do with him ever again. I thought of my mother. Mom, I didn't repeat your old path. I have loved and been loved. I made the choices I thought were right. I have a clear conscience towards you. I stood by the sea, the wind blowing through my hair, looking back on my short life. Meeting Jason was a blessing and a curse. Falling in love with him was sweet and bitter. The last lie was my last tenderness to him, and also my last explanation to myself. Do I hate him? But more than that, it's love. It's a love that goes deep into the bone marrow and cannot be abandoned. He left, taking my hatred with him, and I should go to my appointment. The waves crashed against the rocks, making a gentle sound, like a song, the final lullaby.